Today's Cowboys Report is made possible by Manscaped. You can get 20% off and free shipping on all of their men's grooming products by going to manscaped.com and using promo code Cowboys. Today we break down the Dallas Cowboys playoff picture entering NFL Week 15. For the time being, and there is an asterisk on this, the Dallas Cowboys are the number 2 seed and the NFC East leaders. As we'll get into, the Cowboys do not maintain that control of their own destiny in the same way that the Philadelphia Eagles do because of some tiebreaker stuff we will get into. But they are on the verge of being able to clinch a playoff spot. In fact, at minimum, the Dallas Cowboys would clinch the number 6 seed with a win against the Buffalo Bills in NFL Week 15. Part of their gauntlet. Seattle, who now is teetering on the playoff picture, took down Philadelphia in primetime. A nationally televised game against the Bills this week at Miami, home against Detroit on Saturday night in that one on ESPN, and then at Washington. So three more playoff teams. See about Buffalo. They're kind of teetering left to go down the stretch this season. We are just 72 subs away from 177,000 here at the Cowboys Report. So I ask you once again to help us get there. Free Cowboys videos, multiple times. We had the preview go out earlier this morning. Multiple videos all throughout the week. Free stuff for you. Hit that sub button so you don't miss out. YouTube.com/CowboysTV. The Cowboys can also clinch the number 5 seed, the top wild card, with the following: a win, and one of the following happens: a Lions loss or a Vikings loss, Vikings play the Bengals. We'll know that going in to the Cowboys game. Vikings play on Saturday. Lions also play on Saturday too. So we'll know if this 5 seed scenario is still in play. There are also, by the way, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, 24 clinching scenarios for the Cowboys this weekend for the number 7 seed with a loss. Even the 6 seeds in play with a loss. I am not going to bore you by going through all of those. We know they don't really matter. They'll get there eventually. Their playoff odds are currently greater than 99%. To put it in perspective, just to make the playoffs this year, if the Dallas Cowboys were to collapse somehow and not win a single game down the stretch, even with losses in all of those games, they have a greater than 99% chance of making the playoffs. They're all but in at this stage. But officially, will the Cowboys clinch a playoff spot this week? Y for yes, N for no. Sound off for me in the comment section right now at the pinned comment. If the ad comes, take advantage, go vote Y or N. I do want to mention this here, the tiebreakers, and why the Cowboys for now are in the number 2 spot in the NFC, and why they are for now ahead of the Eagles from the tiebreaker. Head-to-head is the number 1 thing. So you're not going to have the head-to-head against the 49ers. You're going to finish a full game above them to get the number 1 seed. We will come back to that here in a little bit. Division record is important here. It's actually win percentage. So because the Cowboys have played one more NFC East game, they have the edge over Philadelphia. But if everybody wins out, both these teams win out, they would be tied because the Eagles would have then beat the Giants twice. It then goes to common games record, which could be impacted by which team would lose a game. Do you lose to the Bills, who beat Philadelphia, or who lost Philadelphia? That would put the Eagles ahead of the Cowboys in common games marks. Otherwise, the other games, Philadelphia, if they lose one, Cowboys beat Buffalo. Let's say Dallas loses to Detroit, Eagles lose to, say, Seattle. Common games would then go to Dallas. If it all stays the same, right? It would then go to conference record. For now, Dallas has the negative advantage there because they lost to the Cardinals, who the Eagles then beat. Now, again, that can change based on who you lose to, but if Dallas loses to one of the AFC teams and loses to Seattle, it would still be even. It would still be even at this stage. It would then go to strength of victory, which would almost assuredly be Philadelphia. A lot of games to be played, but you're only a 95% chance of being the Eagles. It's not going to happen. So to put it more succinctly, here is how you win the NFC East. Option 1, Dallas wins out and the Eagles lose one game. That gives Dallas the better overall mark. Dallas loses to Detroit, which is a not common game opponent. Eagles lose to anybody because it's just the Seahawks and the Commanders, or the Cardinals and the Giants, which would then even or to put the advantage in common games back in Dallas's favor. Dallas loses one game, and the Eagles lose to the Giants. That's the one I'm cheering for because there's 2 chances for it. It would then give the Cowboys the advantage in the NFC East win percentage. Eagles would have 2 losses. Dallas would have 1. It's a little bit complicated. These are your paths. Win games. Take care of business, and we'll see what happens. Get ready to jingle and deck your balls this holiday season with our help from our friends over at Manscaped. The leaders in below-the-waist grooming have just launched the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra. It's the one-stop shop for holiday gifting perfection. It's a trimmer as precise as Santa coming down the chimney. The Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra brings 2 next-gen blade heads, perfect for sculpting your holiday do, from taming the chestnuts to grooming the tree. We all know what I'm talking about, right? The puns are landing for you guys here. They've also got the Weed Whacker 2.0 as part of it, nose and ear hair trimmer. You guys can get 20% off and free shipping by going to manscaped.com and using promo code COWBOYS. That's 20% off and free shipping by using promo code COWBOYS. Give the gift of Manscaped this holiday season to ensure that your Mrs. Claus thanks you, and Santa's not the only one coming this holiday season. That's too far? Maybe a little bit too far? I think it's funny. Manscaped.com, promo code Cowboys. Links in the comment section and the description of today's video. All right, so the Cowboys' remaining schedule then, how this all breaks out. At Buffalo, at Miami, 2 very challenging football games. Versus the Lions, Saturday night, Week 18 at the Commanders. Because you're already a playoff team, what I want to focus in on here is how those games could potentially impact your chances of winning the division. Let's break it down. The first number is odds of winning the division with a win versus odds of winning it with a loss. Knowing, of course, the Philadelphia outcomes have almost the exact same swing involved there. 42% versus 20%. So that's a 22% swing. Same odds, different percentages slightly there by Miami, since you are underdogs against the Bills. It might not be as big of dogs against the Dolphins. Not as impactful against Lions for what we just mentioned. It is not a common game opponent with Philadelphia. Then, of course, the biggest against the Commanders, because you lose that game, it's an NFC East loss, and that would impact you significantly. So you're talking big swings each of the next 4 games. Here are the seed odds for the Dallas Cowboys. All 7 plus, the less than 1% chance of not making the playoffs. You've de facto clinched, I call it. 5% chance at the number 1 seed. That's likely winning out, and the Niners dropping 1 game in which they're going to be favored in most of them, and you're not going to be favored at all, so it's very tough. 22% chance of the number 2 seed. A 3% chance at the 3 seed, which is basically you lose to Detroit, but you still win the division, which is a little bit complicated to get there. 70% chance at the 5 seed. A technical 1% chance at the 6 seed. Again, if you lose every game down the stretch, you're still staring down the barrel of a 75, 76% chance to get the 5 seed still. It's most likely where you end up going from that perspective. So will the Dallas Cowboys end up winning the NFC East this year? 1 for yes, they will. 2 for no, they will not. Sound off in the comments section. We will check in on the other 2 threats going on in the NFC playoff picture for seeding, I should say, because you control your destiny against Detroit. You play them, you beat them, you take care of business there. The Eagles, they control their own destiny. If they win out, they are in. They find a way to win the division from that perspective. So what I have here is the Eagles' remaining schedule. And the numbers here are the Cowboys' chances of winning the NFC East with a win versus a loss. So if the Seahawks win, Cowboys odds jump to 46%, independent of what else Dallas does in the other games. Eagles win, it's down to 20. 24% swing. That's significant. The Giants, that is the game that matters the most. 69% chance of winning the division for Dallas if the Giants upset Philly. You notice that there's some different odds there. Reason being it's home versus away. Losing at home hurts more than losing on the road. So it's just because you've got other games still to go. You lose that game, well, and it kind of hurts your Week 18 changes, etc. Cardinals 54-24. You need the Eagles to lose at least one game. Otherwise, you will not win the division this year. Meanwhile, over in the number 1 seed category, the lone team to clinch a playoff spot so far this year probably changes this week. That is the San Francisco 49ers. They play the Cardinals, then the Ravens. That's the game we will be cheering for the Ravens to take down San Francisco, because I think they're going to beat Arizona, Washington, and the Rams, which would mean your odds at the number 1 seed are very limited. So a simple rooting guide this week. You can root against the Lions if you want to. At this stage, it doesn't actually drastically impact your playoff chances that significantly because you control your own destiny in terms of getting to that seeding and everything. So you can go against Lions too if you want. That's fine. The ones that really matter, Cardinals over Niners, Seahawks over Eagles, and you can root against the other bad NFC teams or root for the bad NFC teams, I should say, to help their play or hurt their own draft chances. So maybe go Commanders, get a worse draft pick. Kind of the other bonus one there. But it's really Cardinals over Niners, Seahawks over Eagles. Pick the Cowboys record this year for me. Can they get that number 1 seed? How many games are they going to win? It's been a great year so far. 3 tough games and the Commanders left to go. Get those predictions in the comment section right now.